Hey, Coach.
Everybody? Camera there won't get set here. You're good?
Yep.
Okay. We'll let Coach start off with the opening statement and we'll take questions.
It's been a good camp. We're just excited that the game's here. I think everybody at this time of year is just ready to actually play an opponent and test yourself. Really pleased with the work that the kids have put in over the winter, spring, summer, fall camp. Now we got to dial it in and be ready to play.
Coach, do you have a starting quarterback, and if so, what made him win the job?
Yeah, we're going to start Cam Fancher. All three kids, I don't want to say much more than that. All three kids did an unbelievable job. Cam's gonna run out there, and it's his job to begin the game and begin the season, and we'll go from there.
Scott, will there be an opportunity for other quarterbacks to get in play on Thursday?
I trust all three, so I want good things to happen for all three of them, and if the situation arises, we'll get some other guys in. We might even have a plan for that, but right now it's Cam's job.
Coach, you're at the climactic point of camp, right on the cusp of the season. How game ready do you feel this team is at this point?
Yeah, you get to a point where you practice so much that you need to see what they can do in a game. And there's a saying that's true: you don't rise to the occasion, you follow the level of your training. And I feel like we've trained well. But everything changes once you're out there on the field. And I just want our guys to be ready to attack, play with no fear of failure, and just play hard. You can see around the country there's a lot of mistakes happening, first game mistakes, and just a few games that have already happened. We're going to try to limit those, but understand those are going to happen, and effort usually makes up for a lot of that. So I just want to see our guys come out and play as hard as they can.
What did camp show you in spring and then carry over into fall camp that helped you make your decision?
Again, I don't want to talk about one guy too much. Cam's done a really good job with just command of the offense, control of everything. He's doing a good job turning broken plays into positive plays. But all three guys have done well, so it's Cam's job right now.
With Cam being made the starter, did that influence any way which wide receivers you're looking to get out there, or what have you seen from the wide receivers leading up to this, and who could we expect to see out there?
No, who it is won't change a lot. Every position had battles, and the receiver group really had to grow. Again, not because we don't have talent there, because we don't have a lot of game experience and production there. I've seen a tremendous amount of growth from those guys, and I feel like we're deep there. We can play quite a few guys, so I think you'll see a lot of different guys out there Thursday, and they're all going to get their chance to make an impact on the game.
Similar to that, does that change the alignment of the offensive line at all? I know Paul's worked at right tackle last year, and he's spent time at left tackle this year during camp. With Cam being left-handed, and the different lines, does that change it at all?
No, we don't want to move Paul just for something like that. So, I do feel like we got guys, including Paul, that can play multiple spots, and if the need arises, he could be on the left or right. But all those position battles were independent of one another, and it would be a crime for me to play somebody in a different spot or a different person because of the outcome of a different position race. So there'll be several spots where multiple people get to play, and we're going to have a rotation. But I think we're settled in pretty well, and we'll probably release the depth chart here in the next couple of days.
You mentioned many times throughout camp that this will be a player-led battle and that the team would also gravitate towards the starter. Did you start to see that towards the end of fall camp?
Really, it was neck and neck right until the very end, and we got to a point we had to make a decision. I think in the probably last 4 or 5 days before we decided. I think Cam probably played the best in those, but that's not taken away from anybody else. I got a ton of confidence in several other guys.
I don't think we asked you since you've been hired, but will you be calling plays on Thursday? And if so, how excited are you to kind of get back into doing that?
Yeah, I'm excited just for the game in general. Steve Cooper's done an unbelievable job when I'm doing head coaching things, running the offense. I've been around him a lot, and he thinks very similar to the way I think, and it'll be a collaboration between the two of us.
Coach, you mentioned the lack of game experience from the wide receiver position. How impactful has Coach Beck been in that role, being obviously not a help to you, not only just a help to you, but to those younger guys as well, just being a UCF guy, being who he is?
Well, I love Sean Beckton. He's like the OG around here. He's Mr. UCF. He does a great job, not just with the position group, but keeping the entire team on track and thinking the right way. He's a great asset to us, and you know he's had his work cut out for him again, just because of lack of experience in that room and game experience. But you know the guys know what they're doing. They're in good shape, and they're going to get their opportunity to go make plays.
Coach, I know you're going to be concentrating on game plans and all of that, but how emotional do you think you'll be when you run out on the field Thursday?
You know, I figured someone would ask me that. I think I'm going to be so mission focused running out there that I won't even stop to look around and reminisce or anything like that. At some point I probably will, and it'll be great to be back there, but you know, it's time to go to work, and it's time for business when we run out on the field, and I'll probably be more in tune with who won the coin toss, who's on offense, who's on defense, and our first few plays of offense when we get it.
Also, fellow Orlando and Lee Corso, his last game on game day is a Saturday. Do you have any Lee Corso stories?
No, none that I can share anyway. But you know, Coach has always just been great. You know, there's a fine line when you're in the media to being an entertainer and being loyal to who you are as a football coach. I always appreciated about him that he was good to everybody in our profession because he's been in that profession. So it was less about criticism and more about, you know, honest analysis and praise for coaches, and he did it the right way.
You mentioned how throughout the games this past weekend you saw a lot of mistakes, just the nature of it being the first game of the season. Knowing that there's still a lot unknown about this team in a game situation, what do you feel confident about heading into Thursday's game?
I feel confident about a lot. The preparation's been really good. Feel confident about our athletic ability and just how we've come together as a team. You know, you're not going to go through any game and not have ups and downs. And so I really want our team to just stay mission focused and keep attacking and trying to make great plays. Whether good things happen or bad things happen, we got to keep the foot on the pedal and keep pushing forward. And I feel good about where we are, but you know, we'll get tested both ways with good things and bad things.
Coach, what's the breakdown on Jacksonville State?
You know, there's a lot of unknown going into this game, probably both ways. You know, I got a lot of respect for Coach Kelly and everywhere he's been. Their coordinators have been in really good spots. Really think that the Coach Trickett does a really good job with their O-line going back. And, you know, we're not 100% sure what they're going to be lined up in and what they're going to be doing. They're probably not 100% sure about what we're doing. We've watched on offense Maryland tape and Auburn tape and Jacksonville State tape, and I'm sure they've watched Nebraska and Oregon and UCF and Boise and the Rams. I don't know. So you go into a game like this and it's a little harder to scheme somebody else up. Kind of becomes just more line up and do what you do and play ball.
Scott, when you look at this this camp, what are you the most proud of this group coming out of this fall camp?
I suppose their willingness to do what we asked them to do. There's been a big difference even going into this game week. You know, we expect the kids not to come out 3 days and 4 days before a game and just walk through plays. Like, we're practicing hard. And it took them a couple series to understand what we wanted. But every time we've had a situation like that where we expect them to do something different than what they're used to, they've been really open to giving everything they have to give us what we want. And that means we've been able to move in the right direction the whole time. And I appreciate the guys' willingness to buy in.
Coach, what players maybe stepped up in leadership positions on this team, and have you made a decision or a vote regarding team captains?
Well, the guys in the back have done a great job. Miles and Nigel have both been great. Miles is pretty much clear leader of our offense right now. He's like having another coach on the field. He's demanding of the guys. He expects the standard all the time. It's been great to see. Nigel Leak and Kelly Lawson, some other guys on offense. Malachi have done a good job with that on defense too. The leadership is growing, but we definitely got some guys like that are cut out for it and natural leaders.
How have you seen that brotherhood build throughout camp and preparation now for game one?
It's been interesting. I don't think you can really come together until you have some shared experiences, good and bad. And there's been a couple hiccups that we've had, fights on the field, little things like that, some things that challenged our togetherness. And sometimes you have to go through those things. They end up being a positive because guys find a way to come together more after that. You can't manufacture those just have to happen, and those will continue to happen this year as we ride the highs and lows of the season. So I feel good about where we are from a unity standpoint, but we have a ways to go.
You've talked about success being defined by progress and a reliance on the rise and conquer mantra. How do you feel the team is continuing to buy into that even at this point, and do you feel like it's a season-long adjustment, staying patient and making those incremental improvements?
Yeah, we're a lot better than we were at the beginning of camp, and we started camp a lot better than we were in spring. But we got to keep getting better throughout the season, and that's on the field and off. So we'll keep putting the guys through what we think we need to put them through to continue to improve. And as good as we are in game one, hopefully it's a lot better game 6.
With regards to Jacksonville State, one thing that is known is they're starting Gavin Winston at quarterback. I want to know if you knew what you knew about him, given the fact that he played at Rutgers, and if you knew him as a recruit during your time in Nebraska.
Yeah, I remember watching him as a recruit, and we were interested in him out of Jersey. Big, athletic kid, can really spin the ball. He played quite a bit at Rutgers, played a little bit at Kentucky. He's a specimen to watch him run and throw the ball. He's got all the tools. So we're going to have to be on our game. I know he can run it and he can throw it, so the defense has to be sure to be in the right places and the right gaps with the right eyes, and him and others will challenge us.
Coach, I've heard recently about how during this season you talk about how what others have been saying about the team and all that type of stuff. And so I know that some people can go on the idea of, keep away from social media or don't really listen to what other people are saying, but how do you kind of take that and use that to help fuel this team forward?
Yeah, I think the days of not reading newspaper articles are over. The kids don't walk 10 feet without looking at their phone anymore. So there's no hiding it anymore. It's better to just address the elephant in the room head on. One thing I appreciate about UCF and always have is there's a little bit of a chip on your shoulder attitude here, and there was when I was here the last time. So I think the kids are embracing the fact that nationally there's not a lot expected of the group, and I think that's been a motivation for them. So they're going to get their chance to take the first step to prove people wrong on Thursday.
Earlier you said you may not have time to reminisce, but just how excited are you to be coaching football again?
Yeah, I love that part of it. The best parts about coaching are impacting young lives and competing, and you get to do both those things in a big way at practice, but especially at games. And we got a pretty special group of guys, and I told them the other day, when I was here last time, there was a group of guys that came together so well that it was life-changing almost for them, what they got to experience together. And I want that for this group too. I want them to have those kind of trials and that kind of success, and you take those kind of experiences with you for the rest of your life. So we're working to build that here again.
Coach, what do you most want to see from fans during the season opener?
Well, the first thing you want your quarterback to do is take care of the ball. Jacksonville State has had a lot of success lately, and a lot of it is turnovers. They've done a really good job with turnovers. You watch their tape. They have a lot of returners from the last couple years, and they've done a really good job being aggressive and creating turnovers. So offensively, it's never going to be perfect in game one. We just have to play hard and take care of the ball.
Coach, in a pay-per-play world, do you think there's pressure on coaches to play the guys that they pay the most?
Absolutely. And that's one thing I appreciate about UCF is I don't have a lot of people in my ear and on my back saying, I gave you the money for this guy, why isn't he playing? That allows me to be honest as a coach and honest with the players and play the guys that deserve to play. That's rare, and I really enjoy that about this place. We got good support, but it's not invasive support. And again, then we can be critical thinkers and look at performances and do what's right by the kids by putting the guys on the field that have earned it and deserve it.
Coach,
A few more.
Sorry, just a few more. Now that spring ball is gone, fall camp is ended, do you feel the difference in the environment, the atmosphere in the locker room? Does it feel like game week? Is there like a excitement, a nervousness, an uncertainty? Like, what's the feeling right now when you in the locker room?
You know, I feel a confidence and I feel a eagerness to get out there from the guys. A couple times this week, you know, you roll right from fall camp right into practice for a game, and you can fall into the habit of just feeling like you're in another fall camp practice. It hasn't happened a lot, but there's been a couple times at practice I felt that way. There's got to be just more urgency when you're getting ready for a game. Like, this play has to be executed perfect so we can get it out on the field and trust it. You know, in fall camp, if you run a bad play once, you just go to the meeting room and fix it the next 6 days. But there's more urgency, and I don't know if I felt enough of that from the team, but what I do feel is an eagerness to get out there and a confidence in where they are and where they're going.
Scott, health-wise, how's the team going into this game?
A lot of credit to our training staff and our strength and conditioning staff. You know, I look at an injury report every week, and we don't have a lot of guys on there, so we're going to be pretty close to full strength. Minus a couple guys. I don't think Caden Peening's going to be ready, and obviously Swin's out for a while, but other than that, I think it's all hands on deck, and I think those guys have done a really good job keeping the guys healthy and training them the right way so that they're building up to peak at the right time.
Last one, right? In between preparing for Jacksonville State, did you get a chance to watch K-State and Iowa State over the weekend, and maybe, if you did, your first thoughts of the Big 12?
Yeah, I was impressed with both teams. Obviously, the conditions kind of affected the game in the first half, but really impressed with both defenses and how hard they played and how well they tackled. They both found a way to make some big plays later in the game, but it was just a good Big 12 game, and probably very representative of the games in this league, that if you play well, you can win, and if you don't, you can lose. Every team in this league could beat you. So our guys got to be ready to go out and perform their best every week.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.